Hello everyone, welcome back to our series Understanding CBET. And in today's tutorial, we are going to look at another support material when it comes to assessing learning outcomes, and that is performance criteria weighting. So this is another tool that we need to develop. So what is this performance criteria weighting? And we did talk about performance criteria during our OS development and why it is important to outline all the performance criteria of an element. And therefore, today we are going to look at what are these performance criteria and how do we weigh the performance criteria that are found in our occupational standard. So performance criteria are observable standards that are specific and measurable statements defining a performance required to meet a particular learning outcome. And we did talk about observable standards, and we did say that they define the expected level of performance for a particular unit of competency. So that's what performance criteria is. And maybe you want to ask yourself, why do we have to rank performance criteria? So they usually guide on evaluation of specific observable standards by which a learner or a candidate's performance will be assessed. When we're talking about evaluation, is the process of collecting, analyzing, and as well as interpreting information to determine whether or not a learner met the expected level of performance. So basically, that's why we rank performance criteria. So what are the importance of ranking or weighing performance criteria? One is critical performance criteria are given more weight compared to non-critical performance criteria. And we talk about critical PCs, they refer to what we call priority control standards. So they are the most important uh, competency that a learner needs to master in order to be successful in a chosen career or in a chosen field. And therefore, they are given more weight in the assessment process than the non-critical PCs. And of course, there are several reasons why critical PCs are given more weight than non-critical PC. It could be that they are essential for success in the workplace. The other bit could be they are the foundation for other competencies. And the other bit is they could be relatively difficult to learn. And that means they are often complex and require significant amount of time and effort to master those critical PC. And basically, that's why they are given more weight. The other important is what we call standardization. And here we are looking at allocating marks to different performance criteria. So standardization ensures that PCs are assessed consistently across different CBET programs that we offer in our institution. And the only one way to achieve this standardization is to allocate specific number of marks to each performance criteria. And the last bit is the guide on what we call scoring. And when I talk about guiding in scoring, there are a number of ways that can be done. And that can be used to determine the number of marks that are available for each performance criteria. Or it can be used to determine weighting of different assessment methods. So therefore, it's going to guide on what you need to score. based on different assessors or instructors. So, what are the factors that we need to consider when it comes to weighting of performance criteria? One is what we call critical or non-critical performance criteria. So, you're going to unpack what do they mean. The other bit is knowledge-based or performance-based performance criteria. So, the criteria that addresses knowledge, the basic understanding, and the other bit is performance, and that is skill-based performance criteria. The other bit is what we call creativity level. So when you think outside the box, become innovative. So there are some performance criteria that addresses creativity that is required for a particular task. The other bit is the number of tasks. And the number of tasks here, we are looking at the number of performance criteria. And we did say that at least each element should have between at least 3 to 7 performance criteria. And the last bit is there are PCs that will require uh, product formation or they address processes, or there are some PCs that address processes and product at the same time. So basically, you're going to look at this factor and how then are you able now to weigh your performance criteria based on all these factors. And you're going to look each one of them and see how we're able now to populate performance criteria weighting tool. So for that practical, we are going to use critical aspects and the number of tasks. So we're going to use 1 and 4. So let's unpack what are these critical and non-critical PC. So basically, there are two categories of performance expectations. When you're talking about performance expectation, they define the expected levels of performance for a particular competency or task. So there are those performance criteria that are critical and there are those that are non-critical. So critical PC are the most important aspects of employee's job and they're usually essential for success of an employee, the team, and of the organization. And it's usually talking about critical PC, they are likely to have a significant negative impact on their work and the work of others. So critical PCs can affect performance of a task. And therefore, if it is not well performed, then probably it's going to have a negative impact as compared to non-critical PC. For non-critical PC, they are equally important, but they are not as essential as critical performance criteria. And that means that employees do not meet non-critical PC, therefore they are unlikely going to have a significant negative impact on their work or affecting even others. So we are going to see how critical PCs differentiate from non-critical. So how do you identify them? They have already been identified or highlighted in occupational standard under evidence guide. So you'll see what we call critical aspects. So from the PCs in the elements, you're going to choose which are critical, and that has already been done. And all of them have been addressed in the evidence guide. The other bit is PCs that address knowledge, some will address performance. When you're talking about knowledge-based PCs, they assess employees' understanding of the skills and knowledge that is required to perform a particular task effectively. So again, you need to familiarize yourself with Bloom taxonomy, which verbs denotes knowledge, understanding. And there are those Bloom taxonomy verbs that address performance. So when we talk about performance-based PCs, they assess an employee's ability to apply their knowledge and skills to their work. So you can see the difference. So as an expert in that particular field, you should able to identify what are the knowledge based PCs and what are the performance based PC. The other bit is creativity levels of performance criteria. When you talk about creativity, it refers to the degree to which criteria encourage employees to think outside the box. So you need to engage your critical thinking to come up with new and innovative ways to perform these tasks. So there are PCs that will require you or will require a learner to engage the critical thinking aspects, to think outside the box in order to achieve or perform a particular job. So as an expert in that field, again, you need to look at which PCs addresses creativity. And of course, you'll find that creativity levels cuts across different occupation. For those who are dealing with probably food and technology or hospitality, you realize there are PCs that addresses creativity levels. The other bit is the number of performance criteria. And we did talk about how many PCs should an element have. So the number of PCs can vary depending on the complexity of the competency, the levels of details that are required for that element, and the specific learning objectives of the different CBET programs. So you'll find that if you look at your OS, different elements on a unit of competency have variable numbers of performance criteria. So we're going to look at that and how you're able now to populate your learning, rather your performance criteria weighting tool using the number of PCs. And the last bit is products, processes, or both products and processes. And here it's good to understand that there are performance criteria that addresses products, some will address processes, and some will address both products and processes. And it can be assessed through production of products or execution of processes. So this distinction is very imperative because it helps to ensure that learners are assessed on the ability to both understand and apply their knowledge and skills. Again, there are occupations that are product based, some are process based, some are both. So again, as an expert, you need to identify which PCs address products, which addresses processes, and which address both. And again, which one has more weight over the other when it comes to weighing. And you realize products, PCs that address products have more weight compared to those that address processes. So basically, that is the knowledge understanding or an understanding of what performance criteria weighting is. We'll now dive into now populate performance criteria weighting tool using different factors that you have already addressed. So thank you for your support. Our challenge is still on to reach 300 subscribers. So let's subscribe, share this video, like and comment. Let's meet in our next video. Thank you.